Live on the internet, it's Sunday night. It's Superhero Speaks spoiler-filled review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Plus, a disappointing update on the future of Blade. The MCU casts its Emma Frost and featuring the return of social media madness. Now here are your hosts, Dave and Don.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I am your host, Dave.
And I'm your other host, Don.
That's right. We got a movie review for you tonight, I think, and some Marvel news.
Ooh.
And yeah, I think so. Right? We went and saw the Odyssey, so we're gonna go talk about that.
You are confusing the other movie that stars Tom Holland, Zendaya,
and John Bernthal.
Mr. Bernthal. Yeah, John Bernthal. Well, I
Oops,
understand how you make that mistake.
Okay. Maybe.
It is also another episode of X-Men 97, which I am just so grateful for. So, but we'll talk about it though, because there's stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. With all that being said, how are you, sir? How was your week? Anything new and exciting in your life?
Yeah, I mean, definitely something that's going to increase the blood pressure from this point out is my oldest got his license, which in itself is nerve-wracking, but it also immediately doubles the insurance premiums. So it's like double whammy, which you knew he was coming, but you just, until you see it double, you just don't quite grasp. But here we are. But an awesome episode of X-Men 97, of course, heavily featuring my favorite. And then Spider-Man, A Brand New Day, which, again, we want to get, I want to get out of this dark, this cynical superhero era that we're in. So we'll see. We'll talk about, did it deliver? Did it?
That's a very good question.
Well, you are the Spider-Man fanatic. He's your number one. So
yeah, he's always over my shoulder. So yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. My week. It was okay. Nothing earth shattering. Thus far this week, though, I've been, just busy with work, hanging out with the girlfriend, same old, getting stuff prepped for the show. Like you said, watched X-Men 97 and this movie, and started watching season 2 of Batman Caped Crusader, which we will be talking about not tonight, but we will be talking about it shortly. And yeah, and Don, I had one of those thoughts this week. This made me really think about life. And there was a time in this country where cars weren't as safe as they are today, right? We've got crumple zones and airbags, and they now auto detect collisions and will brake for you and all this stuff. And it's opened up people to be more a-holes when they're driving, let's be honest. And B, you would get into these, like, you sometimes you'd get into an accident, you might have learned your lesson, and you realize the danger, and you start driving safer after that. Or B, if you didn't learn, you got into an even worse accident, and then usually, unfortunately, that would be the end of you. But today, these cars are so safe, people just keep being a-holes over and over and over again. So I am going to start a hashtag Make Cars Less Safe campaign. I think that we need that. We need to start thinning the herd a little bit.
To increase the Darwinism. You want to go back to steel cars, and basically semi-guided missiles.
Same thing with like vaccinations and all that kind of, like, come on, there's too many people. Which brings me to the return of Why is it not playing?
I don't know.
Hold on.
When your intellectual comment sounds like hateful word vomit, we will respond with gladness. It's social media madness. Ooh,
Oh yeah,
That's
the madness.
It's the return of social media madness, where we take comments from you, the viewers. And I say that with quotes because some people don't watch the videos, they just comment based on titles of clips and stuff, and we comment on them, I think, because I think that's important. So we're gonna talk about a couple of these here.
All
So we're
right.
gonna start with this one over on X, formerly known as Twitter. And of course, we had talked about the recasting, quote unquote, recasting of T'Challa, where, we had said in the video that, they said in the announcement that it's his son, who's also happens to be named T'Challa, who's grown up. And I said, that's stupid. That won't work with the timeline. You can't take a kid who was, 5 at the end of the last movie, and now all of a sudden he's in his 20s and he's king. Like, he's either going to be an alternate universe one, or there's going to be something else. And no one's going to call him T'Challa Jr. Everyone's going to call him T'Challa.
Right.
But we got this comment here. Okay, they're not recasting him. It's his son. Its future version of the son is aged up. He shares the name of his dad. They're introduced him in the last Black Panther movie at the very end. Again, yes, we addressed all this in the video. So this person obviously did not watch the video. They simply saw the title and the thumbnail where it's like, oh, T'Challa recast. So
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna clap back, comments, you really do need to make sure you know what you're talking about. Like today I saw a posting. I think it was Screen Rant, and it was a question. Oh, Juggernaut has a new sibling in the comics, and they had a picture of the Colossus Juggernaut. But when I went on to read the article, it was talking about Kmart. So I did a snarky, well, actually, but you can't do that stuff unless you're right. Actually, seen the content and can intelligently, even if then you can be a little snarky, but you got to be right.
You got to be right. That is the ultimate part of this comment. All right, let's move on. I only got a few of these. We're gonna do these, but we're gonna try to keep them short as well going forward. So this goes along with something else we're going to talk about later. Again, about the recasting. This comment was on YouTube. If it's not recast with a white guy, Marvel is racist. I'm sorry, Hollywood is racist. Obviously, it's someone trolling, and they're trying to be funny.
Yeah, he's trying to rage bait.
But it's funny because we're going to be talking about racism, I think, in Hollywood or in Marvel in a little bit. So I thought it was fitting to include this comment. Yeah. No, and I get the argument. Again, you're trolling. I get the argument, but we won't go into it because he's not redhead.
Right.
Oh, I'm trying to close it on the wrong window. Here we go. This is a twofer.
All right.
So this is
Two for Tuesday.
We talked about Marvel is moving the comic book part of their business to California because obviously the movie business had already been based in California.
Yeah.
I had made a comment in the video and I meant it sincerely, but not like, I don't think it's the only reason, but I do think it's the deciding factor in why they're doing it now. Zoran Mondani was elected mayor, and he is raising the taxes on everyone, especially corporations and the quote unquote ultra wealthy. Whether you believe in that or not, obviously people are going to start moving out of New York. If you've got that kind of money, you can move, and this is a no-brainer. Like, if the majority of your business is already in California, because that's where Disney's headquarters is,
Yeah.
it's very easy to just say, okay, we don't have a presence in New York anymore. You can't tax us because you're already paying California taxes. You don't want to pay higher New York taxes on top of that. So even if it wasn't because of Mondani raising taxes, I guarantee that was a deciding factor in this move.
Maybe, but California, as far as taxes goes, isn't too much better. I guess I don't know for sure, but I don't know. It's weird to me because, especially, and I don't want to spoil anything, but like with the Spider-Man movie that we're going to talk about later, there's this great, really homage that's like, oh, New York superhero. It was, very endorsing of New York being a superhero city, and but yet this is happening. So I don't know, you could be right, but from what I understand, California is not like tax awesome.
No,
I think people, like Joe Rogan and others, right? They left California for Texas.
Yeah.
Those players like to be in Florida because there's no tax there or some shit like that. It's all about taxes.
Still loading. Commented, can't blame the mayor for a company whose fails to be consistent. Oh wait, innovative and consistent. What? Like, the company is, they're owned by Marvel. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, no. Like, yeah, have they had issues with some of their comics lately? Yeah, are they not selling as well? Yes, but that's the industry in general. That's not just Marvel, so It seems weird. Like, again, I was just saying the taxes are going up. To me, it seems like a smart business move to put. Oh, well, another thing is I'd like to point out is that Disney has special deals with California in a lot of ways. They don't pay as much taxes as other companies there because they bring a lot of money into the state. So, yeah, like, they get a lot of tax breaks, which I'm sure they're not getting in New York, so
yeah,
that's the other side of this. And then, can I read this? Hold on. Never That Simple said, this won't affect the comic production designers. This won't affect comic creators. It will, though, affect production staff, designers, the people who do the ad stuff and whatnot, like, who are basically, they've got to move or lose their job, which I don't disagree with that. Like, yeah, the comic creators, most of them work out of the house. I guarantee there's a lot of staff that work out of their home. I work out of my home, and I don't work in that kind of an industry. Like, more and more people do work from home, so I don't think they're going to force. Like, it's a good point, and there might be some people that lose jobs. People that would really be affected are staff, people who work for the building,
yeah, administrative,
IT, yeah, so
logistics,
right. Those are the people that be really affected. But, like, yeah, if you're doing designs and layouts and stuff for comics and ads and stuff, you can probably do that stuff from home. They'll probably keep some of them, and hey, maybe you want to move to California. Who knows? So again, And thank you to these guys for their comments, because it's all about joining the conversation. And finally, just a little fun one. On our live stream itself, we had talked about Ryan Gosling is Ghost Rider, and our good friend, why can't I think of? Oh my God, Angry Brain. Come on, Don, help me out. What's,
James Burton.
James Burton, thank you. Commented, I want Danny Ketchup Ghost Rider. I don't know who that is. I had to look it up. It's an Adult Swim reference. So
Okay.
I'm going to assume there's some kind of joke from Adult Swim with that, but I don't know what it is. I apologize.
Probably has a friend with the name of Mustard somehow.
I don't know, but if you're watching, James, you'll have to explain the reference, because we're old and don't watch Adult Swim. So okay, wait.
Not anymore,
Hassan,
at least. I don't remember that.
When we talk about Spider-Man, we need to dive into why Marvel can't seem to get their writing right with their own IPs, but nail it for Spider-Man. Ugh.
Yeah, other IPs. So he's saying he likes the writing in Spider-Man.
I get it. But I think there's a how do I say this? I think there's an advantage that Spider-Man has, and we can get into that one.
For certain. Oh yeah, there is.
Well, he's also got the advantage
Mr.
of
Tom Holland abs advantage. I can personally not attest to it.
I think there's a major advantage of this is the 9th movie. So at this point, you know what works and what doesn't work for the character. So, but we'll get into all that. All right.
There's so much. This is going to be strap in, Hassan. You're going to love it. This is going to be like a 3-hour episode.
Oh, I hope not. Some of us have work in the morning from
home.
It's
going to be a wife mad at me episode.
So that's our social media madness. It's back.
Oh yeah,
it's funny because one of the reasons that JD grew to hate the segment was because how do I say this? He took a lot of the things personally and got mad at some of the stupid things people said.
Oh
and we ended up rehashing the story too a lot of times, which made the show go that much longer. That's why I'm going to keep it to like 3, maybe 4 per episode. I'm going to just pick a few, just see,
just a few things. See if like either you or I, do a motherfucker or something, that's always funny.
Yes. All right.
That's
social media madness. I guess we should talk about X-Men 97.
Yes.
Season 2, episode 7.
Yes.
I'll let you go first. I've done a lot of talking.
Okay.
What did you think of the episode overall?
I absolutely loved it. It is one of my favorite animated episodes of anything that I've ever seen. But while I say that, I know that is because of how I feel about the characters, because as much as this is a Colossus episode, which I did not expect, I expected a cameo, maybe one scene or two, or I even expected him to like be actually kind of a bad guy, which, but I was pleasantly surprised because from the get-go, it's all about Colossus. I was just gonna, and Nightcrawler. And this is the part that I think is going to creep in people's crawl, is that if we follow the X-Men 97 continuity, and there's things we may not have seen, Nightcrawler and Colossus do not have a deep relationship. In fact, Colossus was not even an X-Man. He helped rebuild the X-Mansion, and but it never really happened. And then all of a sudden, though, he's there at Genosha. I don't know. There's a weird thing there. I get it. But anyway, like I said, the show's been leaning on its fans, and this leans on those that understand the relationship between Nightcrawler and Colossus. And with that caveat known and experienced, this episode becomes something wholly special and very gratuitous to us who love that relationship between Colossus and Nightcrawler.
Okay.
So, that's where I'm coming from. This is a 12 out of 10.
Oh my God.
I mean, because the way and Dave, how is Colossus not your favorite X-Men? He's a painter, like.
Well, here's the funny thing. Watching this episode, something became very clear to me, which I hadn't thought about as much before. And it made me go, oh, now I get it. The X-Men, mutants in general, in the Marvel universe, but yeah, definitely the X-Men, for the most part, are very morally ambiguous characters. And I'm not saying there aren't a lot of morally ambiguous characters in Marvel, but these guys are the most. And I'm not saying that some of it isn't without cause or isn't deserved or whatever. Like, okay. But it made me realize that probably my favorite mutant in all of Marvel is Nightcrawler. Because
absolutely,
because he is 100%. He has a moral compass and he sticks to it. It's not just because he's Catholic and I'm Catholic and Christian, and that speaks to me, but it's because he has a very deep moral compass. And even faced with his half brother, who is arguably the worst person in X-Men 97, right, hands down. He can't, he still tries to defend his brother. And it doesn't come off as he's just trying to defend it because it's his brother, but like that's a big part of it. But it's also because that's who Kurt is. Like, he can't let someone be executed by his own kind because does that, he's got a lot of moral questions going on there. So, yeah.
But he'll give him a sick burn, though. He won't kill him, but that last line because, for those who aren't aware, I mean, we're not going to go beat for beat, but Graydon Creed is the son of Mystique and Sabretooth, but yet he's not a mutant.
Right.
And anyway, so he hates his parents. And at the end, Nightcrawler's like, "You're very much your parents' son," sick burn.
Yeah, that's a great line, too. It really is. Yeah. Go ahead, you read it.
Hassan says, "I have to say, Nightcrawler has to be the epitome of the mutant condition. He looks odd. He believes in God. He's conflicted." Oh, absolutely. Like, yes. When Dave talks about, like, when he messaged me, like, yeah, Nightcrawler's the only one that's not morally ambiguous. I'm like, absolutely. And that's why he's like, Colossus is 1A. And, yeah, Nightcrawler's pretty much 1B there. Because of that aspect of him. But yeah, the mutants have gotten to a point where they were reviving themselves. Like, so then the relationship between mutants and God is very, very just amorphous. I don't know, but Nightcrawler, is steadfast. He questioned the fact, oh, what are we doing? We're reviving. Like, he's always very insightful, and you can absolutely connect with him. And just like Hassan said, but he's weird looking, but just a wonderful, wonderful character. And so again, to see him, we're missing Wolverine, but hopefully we'll get that later because at the end of the episode, Colossus is on the team. He's on the team, baby. That was the most exciting thing. I know we didn't go for BP. I don't know what you want to talk about. But
well, I mean, yeah, I don't think we need to go beat for beat, but I do think like this episode is interesting for quite a few reasons. One, obviously they introduced they call the Sons of Magneto or the
acolytes of Magneto in the
Acolytes.
comic book, they were merely the acolytes, but same deal. Yeah, great job with Exodus. Love that character.
right. So yeah,
well, sad that Magic had to die. That's a bit of a controversy
Right.
here.
And I was going to say
Not
that
great writing for her death, by the way. I don't think she's actually dead, but not great writing right there.
Right, because they showed the attack on Genosha in season 1, and like, but they don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. They didn't show that. Like this was that was added for this episode, right? Like they don't show her dying.
I mean, you did. I'm sure it was planned ahead of time because this episode starts. Right. Okay.
I'm not saying it wasn't planned ahead of time, but I don't feel like this was new information. Her death was new information. I thought in this episode, we didn't learn that in season 1, right? Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
we learned this in a trailer, though, I guess, because you saw, or not a trailer. I think it was leaked. So you saw Colossus over his sister's body, but it didn't make sense how she even died. Like, because they come in, and then she teleports to people that are going to get hit by its beam, and to its right side, but not even that far away. And she's like, "Oh, you're safe now." And it's like, "Well, no, it just turns." And then she's like, "Okay, run," which she could have did in the first place. And then she tries to tank this blast, which I didn't get at all. I really didn't. Like,
it doesn't make any sense. No,
no. So I think there's got to be something afoot there, or they really just rushed. I mean, I get it. It's a great way to justify Colossus going from, again, at that point, unexplained, fully outfitted in the X-Men, apparently, to, oh, now I'm an acolyte. It's a great motivator. I get it was, and it was and it is close to what happened in the comic because his sister died of the legacy virus, and that was part of the reason. So, but that death scene, I just, like, oh, okay, that's a little. But hey, Colossus, hey, let's go.
Right. Now again, so yeah, you said it all there. It's a great motivator. They show them capturing. Okay, why is my mind going blank? What's his face?
Creed.
Creed, yeah. I was going to say, Creed, which is interesting because there is a point that's made in this episode that has made me like, what the hell? Like, it's an interesting, Creed did all of these things against the mutants, and it's known, it's not secret, and yet he's still like, he's gonna go run for president, and like all these people are supporting him, and it's just like,
which I'm sure is a statement on current state of affair, or at least state of affairs even 4 years ago.
Yeah, but like it's also weird too because it's like, but
yeah, it shouldn't happen.
Like, it shouldn't happen. He should be in jail for like trying to kill people.
And that's where the X-Men's moral ambiguity gets forgiven, because in this content, we've got Great and Creed, but in the comics, it's proven over and over again that the humans will never mesh with the mutants, will always want them to be eliminated. This Orchis organization, it was like AIM, SHIELD, like good and bad people going against mutants. Like, it is, the humans will mesh with machines before, working together with the mutants. It's proven that. So that's where the darkness and, again, the moral ambiguity, again, they kind of get a license to do that a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it helps the story continue, but like it doesn't make a lot of sense in the real world. Like in the real world, he would be going up for crimes. They wouldn't he wouldn't be able to keep
absolutely.
So they're in the savage. Their bases in the Savage Land, whereas there's the tower that suppresses their powers, which I believe is from the original series.
Yep.
Which was a cool callback. But that's why they're there. They're suppressing, so no mutants can come down and stop them.
Right.
So we get a little side adventure with Polaris and Bishop,
The show.
where they're walking around and he's got this power building up in him, which I thought was weird because like if his powers are suppressed, would he have the power building up in him, or he would just be a regular human? Like that's one of those like writing things. It's like, all right, I'll allow it.
Well, this admittedly is another point where the writing is kind of wonky because the X-Men roll up to the Savage Land to go talk to the Acolytes in Exodus, and they don't try and contact them in any sort of diplomatic way. They just roll their jet up there. They get fucking missiles fired. Well, first they get hit with that wave so they lose their powers. Then missiles get fired. The X jet crashes. Yeah, Polaris and Bishop get lost, separated from everybody else because the plane crashes, and so Colossus and some acolytes just go to the plane. He like opens it up, and immediately they're friendly. Like, hey, friend, how's you doing?
Yeah,
so it's like, wait a minute, why did they have to shoot the jet down? I mean, I get it. They shot it because here's an unidentified jet just coming. So why? I don't know. That was just
why did they try communicating with them first? Yeah,
right.
It's a lot of wonky writing. Again, you're doing a half-hour show, so it's a cartoon, so you can get away with some stuff. But yeah,
exactly. But that's exactly like it is much more serious. But I do have to remind myself this is a half-hour show,
right? They have
so they really do got to fast track it, and if that means it's just a dumb fucking reason, real quick, who cares?
Right. And again, like we said, they have the trial, which really highlights Colossus and Nightcrawler's personalities in this show. Really shows who they are, which I love. Before the trial, before Colossus can give his verdict, it's interrupted.
Exodus.
They're gonna go kill Creed anyway. Yeah, Exodus is gonna kill Creed anyway. And
he right away starts trying to kill Colossus. Like right away. Like Colossus didn't even give a verdict or nothing. He just kind of hesitated. And he's like, oh, fuck you. And he starts to, again, I don't know about the writing on that point there either, but a half-hour show. We got to go. Exodus ain't going to let this go down.
Exodus gets killed? I mean...
Yeah, that's a little... as an Omega level mutant, I really thought... But... I don't know. They do that,
He gets shot by Creed, and it looks like he's dead. And as we already said, then Kurt takes him to like the middle of nowhere, and basically leaves him for dead. And then everyone goes back. They're back at the X Mansion, and Colossus and Nightcrawler are buddy, and then it ends with X-Force, led by Cable and Jubilee. They find Apocalypse? Question mark?
Yeah.
Dead, apparently.
A dried out husk,
A dried out husk of Apocalypse. And his body is riddled with playing cards. And there's our dun dun dun, our cliffhanger in the end of the episode. It was funny because Karen's one son was asking me about it. I'm like, it's Apocalypse. You can't kill him. Not like that anyway.
I don't think
he's eternal. Like we already know he was already there in the future. Like he switches bodies all the time. Like no, he's not dead. So it's a weird, like they didn't do all this build up in the first 4 episodes showing what a threat Apocalypse is to kill him off screen by Gambit. Like no, like that did not happen. So it was a weird cliffhanger, and I'm sure hopefully that's how the next episode begins, is explaining that, because I'm tired of the side stories.
See. No, I definitely think this is a signal that, okay, We're here now. I'm just elated that Colossus gets to join the ride. At least for the finale of the season. Should be great. So yeah.
Yeah. It was a good episode. Yeah. In fact, I kind of want to do a Nightcrawler painting now. So maybe that'll be my next comic character that I do a painting of. We'll see. But yeah, so that was episode 8. We're gonna keep watching it. We hope you guys are all watching along with us. Let us know your thoughts in those comments down below, and maybe if you write a crazy enough comment, you'll be featured on the next Social Media Madness. Who knows? It's all madness.
Oh man, give us those takes.
Oh no!
Why is Colossus? Kassan says, Don, why is Colossus your favorite? No, I can make this pretty brief. Brevity is the soul of wit. I understand that. I just can't always execute it. First of all, Colossus has been my favorite from a very young age because number one, he looks cool. I just on the side of the X-Men arcade game, on the Nintendo X-Men, he always looked very cool, shiny metal big guy. I originally thought he was like some sort of android or cyborg. But as you get to know the character more, you come to understand that he's this big, strong, super human, invulnerable. But he doesn't do violence. He doesn't want to do violence. He, is really just a soft-hearted. He's an artist. He just paints. He's got all this power, but he just paints. And they've written a good mysterious with his family, his Rasputin family. That's I got some cool shit behind it too. So I don't know. I've always been gravitated toward him because he's the big, strong, but he's the nice guy. He's the defender. He's the protector. There you go. But really, a lot of it is I think he looks just very cool. But the fact that he's like this super nice guy, I also like.
He's the big, strong guy who's a giant, gentle giant.
Gentle giant. There you go.
You've modeled your life after him. I could see that.
Oh well, thank you.
All right. Well, that's an interesting a little insight into Don. There we go.
There you go.
Speaking of insights into Don, I think Dark Don is waiting in the wings to tell you guys what you should be doing right now.
Dark Don here. Superhero Speak has reached over 100,000 subscribers, which is good. That means I can stop feeding victims to my pet Gundark in a box, Brie Larson. She's getting too fat, and she won't even chase her prey. I'm also getting tired of cleaning up all the excrement. The Force makes it easy, but it still stinks like the inside of a wampa stuffed with banta poodoo. Now, become a superhero speaker and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like the video and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss one upload of Superhero Speak.
Dave, I cannot hear you. I may have lost you. There you go.
Hello?
Yep, there you are.
Okay.
Dark Don must have cast some sort of force spell on you.
14K more subscribers till Darn goes beardless. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll keep my beard.
Could use AI.
That's true. That's true. AI thinks you're bald anyway.
And that I wear winter beanie hats inside like Tim Pool.
Yes. You are our Tim Pool.
Yeah.
Speaking of our Tim Pool, I think we need to get to the news. So we only have a couple articles to talk about. They're all Marvel related, since we'll be talking about the biggest Marvel movie in a long time shortly. But this first article, it's all X-Men all the time, Don. That's the world we're in now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Here we go. And
we
the
got
normies just jumped off. Could you believe that? Anyway.
We got our second, I'm going to say this, our second official mutant cast in the MCU. The first one was the worst kept secret in internet history. As we've got our Jean Grey. We'll talk about her in a minute. But we got Samara Weaving lands the role of Emma Frost in the upcoming Marvel Studios pick. So I did look her up because I had no idea who she was. And she's the movies she starred in were the Ready or Not movies, which are horror movies. I'm not a horror guy, so I haven't seen those. Yeah, that's there was like one other movie where I was like, maybe I would have seen it, but I don't see it now. She's an Australian actor. She's in her early 20s. And you had said, Borderline. No, that wasn't it. I can't find it now. Oh, she was in the Scream, Scream 4 or Scream 6. So, but it's funny because when I shared this article with you, what was your what was your reaction to it, Don? What was your you don't have to use your exact wording.
Okay, that's good. I thought you were prodding me for that. But yeah, I will paraphrase that, this is I wouldn't expect that they would have Emma Frost be like one of the first official castings of the X-Men MCU. So that catches me off guard. But I get it's not hard to cast Emma Frost because you just have to find a super hot blonde woman that is willing to act C-wordy. How about that? I'll say C-wordy.
There you go. Okay. We'll say C-wordy. And be willing to wear skimpy outfits.
Right, exactly. And with probably some sort of English or I guess maybe Australian, a little, she's I don't know, she's kind of blue blood,
I feel like Son says Reddit is loving this casting. And okay. I don't know her work. It's fine. What I'm trying to wrap my brain around is every time they've used her in movies and stories, she always is a side character. And she did have her own title in the comics for a little while, but like she's not one of the heavy hitters in the X-Men world. Like people are aware who she is.
No, she is.
Okay, well,
to the X-Men world, yes. So like,
okay, in the Marvel world, how's that?
Sure, like in the Marvel, right? In the Marvel realm, like you don't think of Emma Frost. I've got these posters with an ensemble of all the important Marvel characters. Emma Frost is not one of them, but in the X-Men mythos, she is very important, particularly, because she was a villain, but then after Jean Grey died, her and Cyclops started hooking up, and that was a whole thing.
Yes.
But, in the comics, she has done a lot for the mutants.
Do you think they're going to explore that storyline in live action?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they'll at least want to get to her and Cyclops.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know if they're going to right out of the gate make her a hero and not part of the Hellfire Club. So we'll see there too. But I will say, it's like, this is a little known actress, so they're not spending a lot of money here. And like I said, it's not hard to cast Emma Frost, so I got to give the thumbs up for trying to save money and, not Taylor Swift or somebody that's going to cost them millions of dollars.
My
On millions.
my real thought on this though is they're announcing this pretty early and right after Spider-Man comes out, right? Which makes me feel like they're going to use her in another project before we get a full-blown X-Men movie. Like she's going to either be in Secret Wars or you know, maybe one of the other Marvel movies coming out next year. Like she's going to be a character, like, and not necessarily a main character, like a side character, but they're going to introduce her to help set up more. Oh, the mutants are among us. I feel like they're going to sprinkle them in a bunch of movies going forward until we get to
Right,
the
like
X-Men movie.
she'll literally be just some blonde, some scantily clad blonde woman doing business with one of the heroes or something. I don't know.
And something will happen and she'll turn her skin to diamond and that'll be it, you know.
That'll be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my theory. We shall see. Didn't Emma Frost, this is from Kassan, didn't Emma Frost end up marrying Tony Stark like recently?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. She'll marry Doctor Doom. Now I need to ask you a question there, Don.
All right.
Is Marvel racist?
Is Marvel racist? Well, if you are referring to the fact that they right, they never did the Marsha Ali Blade thing. Then we've got some other news here. I'm not sure you want me to talk about yet, but I do not think they are.
I don't
them.
But two articles came out
Yeah.
recently. Marshala Ali, who was set to play Blade, has basically come out and said, like, yeah, it's done and over. There's not going to be a Blade movie, at least not with him in it. There was too much production hell getting the movie made, and he is now in another movie that's coming out called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. He's doing interviews. He's talking about it being his dream job, and basically saying he had to spend a bunch of time training to be Blade, and it was a year out of his life exercising and learning how to use knives and swords and all that stuff. But basically,
I mean, that's just frightful.
Well, but at the end of the day, he said there's skills he'll be able to take into other action movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it became down to like,
did he get paid also?
I'm sure he got paid during the training. But he basically said it wasn't for him. You know, this movie wasn't meant for him, and trying to get this movie off the ground, and nothing they did was working, and ended up with, he's not going to be Blade, Well,
listen, that is also partially my fault because this show is very influential. Powerful people listen to this show, and I never wanted anything but a Wesley Snipes Blade. So, not racism. I just really like Wesley Snipes Blade.
Well, okay. And then the other article that came out is it was officially announced that Wonder Man will not be getting a season 2. We all know that it starred Ben Kingsley and there it is, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who was Black Manta in the Aquaman movies, and obviously he was our Wonder Man in the TV show, and Yeah, they've come out and said that they're not getting a season 2. Before we get into why they're honestly not getting a season 2, this article has prompted people online, along with the Blade news, to say, "Oh, well, Marvel's just racist." And I'm like, but Sam is Captain America now. Like, they bypassed the whole Bucky Cap thing and went straight to Sam. We've
So
got,
what I've seen complained about in that situation, though, Dave, is that with the Doomsday movie, yes, Sam Wilson is Captain America, but now Steve Rogers is back. And so now Captain America, Sam Wilson has been pushed kind of to the, sidelines, which this whole thing is, I don't believe these characters just aren't that. Sam Wilson is popular, but like he's not going to sell a movie or a book. They're going to have Storm coming. That's going to be glorious.
right. Well, this is, so hold on. Yes, we just talked about this last week. They recast T'Challa. And the current rumor is Storm will make her debut in Black Panther 3.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a stupid argument. Like, you got Luke Cage, and he's coming back. We got him at the end of the last season of Daredevil. We know he's going to feature prominently in season 3 of Daredevil.
They made
Born
Nick
Again.
Fury. They made him Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, like,
it's, but I really don't want to get into like, here's evidence to the contrary. I mean,
yeah,
but it's just, it's too much though.
But let's be honest about Wonder Man. I liked the show. I'm on an island. I'm on an island by myself with a lot of people, with a handful of people. A lot of people did not like the show. Why? Because it wasn't your traditional superhero show. In fact, he's not a superhero until the very end of the last episode. He breaks Ben Kingsley's character, whose name escapes me at the moment, out of prison. And he's fully geared up and is obviously in control of his powers at that point, and breaks him out. And it's like, oh, cool. And like, that's when you finally get a glimpse of Wonder Man, from the comics. But I think that was part of the problem, is like, that scene is too little too late. I think if they had structured the show of him being a superhero and then having flashbacks of how he got to where he is intermixed, something like that would have been cool. But like, no, they wanted to do this deconstructing superheroes and superhero movies. Yeah, they wanted to bust open the genre and do something different. It was a huge risk creatively, and unfortunately, a lot of people did not watch the show because of it, or they watched the first episode or two and dropped off. And there's no recovering from that. Like, it's probably the worst rated show, or one of the worst rated shows that they did. So it's not surprising they're not going to do a season 2. I'm sure A, it wasn't cheap to make, and B, it was going to be super expensive for season 2, because then he was going to be Wonder Man.
Right.
It also doesn't mean it's the end of the character. Wonder Man can show up in other projects. He's out there. We know he exists in the universe at this point. Like, he's just not getting a season 2 because people weren't watching it. Maybe if they bring him into Secret Wars and he's got a triumphant scene in the movie and people are then excited about him, then give him a spinoff show. Like, that's the other problem. All the other characters that got shows are most of the other characters that got spinoff shows came from the movies. Wanda, Winter Soldier, and Hawkeye, like, they were all characters in the movies. People watched them based on that. When you were introducing a new character, people didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah, him and Moon Knight, they kind of share that where they are
Yeah.
birthed on the streaming platform. Yeah, I don't know why they made that. I just don't. Other than they wanted an excuse to do something with Ben Kingsley.
Yes, Kassan says they said no season 2. They didn't say he wouldn't be in a future movie. Exactly.
Absolutely. So I think claiming they're racist is a bit much, and that's all it really is.
It goes back to not enough. The cars are too safe. People go on the internet and they say stupid stuff because it gets them clicks and attention. And,
That they do.
And unfortunately, we don't say enough stupid stuff to get clicks and attention.
Well, because that's kind of our brand. Is we're not here to say do stupid things maybe, but just to get out and get clicks.
Both Superman and Supergirl are white. DC's racist.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, so we'll do that. All right.
DC's racist.
Well, that is our news. So we're not like in an hour. Should we call it a show? Or
No, we got to talk about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Brad.
The X-Men are here. Yeah, that's what it's called. I mean, it's just X-Men are here.
It would be funny if Yaya became Blade. I don't know. Mahershala Ali, like, I mean, I've seen him and stuff. But like, I think Yaya is a great actor. I loved him as Black Manta. I loved him as Wonder Man. But no, he's Wonder Man. Let's. I like that character. I really liked the show. He did such a good job. Come on. All right. Sorry. Whew, sorry. Got distracted.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Brand New Day. The latest. The 4th Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. The 9th Spider-Man movie overall. And episode 47 of the MCU at this point. It's all one big continuous thing at this point. It came out this weekend. So we're going to talk about it. But first, before we get into anything, as we always do, we're going to talk the numbers. And we're going to start with, come on, close. There we go. We're going to start with the box office there, Don. Let's refresh the page. Let's see if any new numbers came in yet. Nope. We always have to keep in mind that on a Sunday night, as we're streaming this is an estimated total. This is opening weekend, boys and girls. Let's keep that in mind. 927 million worldwide. I would also like to point out to you and Kassan, who is currently watching it, the Odyssey is currently sitting at 912 million. So in its opening weekend, Spider-Man beat the Odyssey. I said that was going to happen. I said it. I was right. So this is obviously a $1 billion franchise, $1 billion movie. Plus, we'll see, we'll see how much it drops off after this weekend. But I don't think it's going to drop off. Do you know why I'm not going to think I think it's not going to drop off, Don? So there's your box office.
It's going to be on streaming in 45 days.
Oh, I thought I had this open. I'm sorry. Come on. My internet's slow, folks. I'm sorry. Let's bring up the Rotten Tomatoes score. It is currently at, last I checked, 90% tomato meter for critic scores and 98% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I would also like to point out the Odyssey has a 97 audience score, so it's also beating it there. But hey, I digress.
Dave's vendetta against the Odyssey continues.
Yes, for a movie I haven't seen.
It's made $1 billion and thrown it into his face, but he says, "Well, it didn't do it quick enough."
So that is of course Rotten Tomatoes, but we also have our own scientific polls that we conduct here at Superhero Speak on both our YouTube and Facebook and Twitter accounts. We have it currently sitting at, we of course give them 3 options. It was great, it was okay, I didn't care for it. On YouTube, it's got 67% at it was great and 33% at I didn't care for it. Which I find a little surprising personally. And then over on the tweeters, you know, X for those who want to be proper, 69 70, yeah, almost 70% of it was great, with 21% it was okay, and 8% I didn't care for it. So this we have way more votes on this one than we do on the YouTube one, does fall in line with the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So long story short, Don, people like this movie. It's made money, it's making money, it's going to continue to make money, and people like it. So
Yeah, well, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That is the power of Spider-Man, a character that is universally beloved. Kassan Warren says, I knew you would bring that up. The Odyssey isn't premiering in China until August 14th. Spider-Man already made 112 million in China. The Odyssey will roll out to 800 plus IMAX theaters in China. So Dave starts his volley off, some shots across the bow, and now Kassan Warren returning fire.
They can do all they want. It's still going to be. Nope.
Kassan says expect another 250 million for the Odyssey after August 14th.
My prediction is the Odyssey will probably stop at around 1.2, 1.3 billion. Spidey's going to get close to 2 billion. I guarantee it.
So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, as we keep track.
For the simple fact that, like, I'm sorry, people love Spider-Man. Plain and simple.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely
people. Straight up conversation with my girlfriend today. Her son and I were joking around about the other John Bernthal Tom Holland movie that was out, Odyssey, and she's like, the Odyssey, and we're like, yeah, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Oh, it's like, and I looked at her and I said, did you have to read that in high school? And she's like, no, we actually didn't have that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just like, I guess it's something I can wait for streaming. Like, she didn't know what it was. She had no desire to see it. Like,
that was my wife until she went to see it, and now she is all about it.
But everyone knows who Spider-Man. There's more. You're gonna find. You go talk to 100 people in the street. You're gonna find out. You're gonna find more people who know who Spider-Man is and are excited to see a Spider-Man movie than what the Odyssey is, and that if there's even an Odyssey movie, I guarantee there's still people who don't even know there's an Odyssey movie out there. So that being said, we're not here to talk about that Tom Holland movie. We're here to talk about the Tom Holland movie. So before we get into spoilers, my friend, give me your initial non-spoiler reaction to Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Well, my initial non-spoiler reaction is, boy, they thought of a lot of ways to make sure we see Tom Holland's abs in this movie. So could be the reason it is outperforming the other Tom Holland, because you don't see as much abs in that one. There you go. Spider abs. That's the key, baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I like this movie. It's a great movie. It's a wonderful addition to the MCU. And there's a lot of things I question about it. But then they put the Sadie Sink character in it. We won't spoil it for those. Either way, Jean Grey. Yeah, Jean Grey's in the movie. So, obviously I was very attentive to, like, okay, how they doing this? What are they doing? And they really rid the edge with her as far, you talk about X-Men being morally ambiguous. So,
Mhm.
because even my wife was like, Jean Grey, like she's like, isn't she good? I was like, yeah, yeah. And this is before they had kind of justified her for the most part. So I
Yeah.
think they do, but again, they ride that line because she does straight up try to murder a couple people.
Okay.
Um, so, yeah, but there was a lot of things I just didn't expect. I think the whole, all the villains are not all of them, but most of them that you thought was going to be a really bigger part of this movie were not. They were, other than Scorpion, they were like montaged. So I was
Yeah.
like, I did not expect that. I thought we were going to get a little bit more of that. But you know, it's not perfect, but I think it's a good entry. I liked it. But I would be below everybody. I put it at like an 8 out of 10 for me. I'd be more in the 80. So I am below
Okay.
the average here.
All right. Well, I think you gave too much away already, but
I'm sorry.
I
excited.
walked out of the movie and my thought is this is the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Of the 3 that came before it, which are good movies, this is the best one. And I have a lot of reasons for why I think it was the best one. Is it the best Spider-Man movie? No. Does it have some issues? Yes, and we'll get into that. But as for the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, this is definitely the best one. Like, it's the Spider-Man I wanted when they brought him back and when they brought him into the MCU. You know, but I digress again. I don't want to go into too much, but obviously we both enjoyed this movie. We think if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go run out and see it. Because A, it's a great movie, and B, it has to make sure it beats the Odyssey. But that is our non-spoiler reaction to the movie. So we will now get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, or you don't want to be spoiled, this is your chance to bail. Otherwise, here we go. All right. So yeah, I guess we can start off right off the bat. Worst kept secret in movie history. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey in this movie. And they kind of try to like even keep that from you for the beginning half of this movie. You know, it's not until like the halfway point of this movie we figure out that she's Jean Grey. And my issue, and it's funny because I love this movie, but I want to point this out. My issue is that you had said this a while ago when the speculation about who she was playing came out and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure you said this, and said I didn't want that, but it is what we got. Here's your back door to bringing the X-Men into the MCU. This is the purpose of this movie ended up being, yes, mutants are here, and here's why people are afraid of them. They gave us an event that will now be like, oh, you're a mutant? You're like that woman who did that thing on in New York, you know? Oh, I got to be afraid of you. So that, to me, was like, ugh, like, can we just get a Spider-Man movie that's a Spider-Man movie? Apparently not. What did you think of Jean Grey in this movie and all of that aspect of it?
Well, like you know, like I said before, if the whole thing was true when we first learned about it, I'm like, it's just going to be all about Jean Grey for me. And as soon as I'm watching the movie, and it's because honestly, before I saw the movie, I did spoil myself on her character. So going into it, I'm immediately obsessed with how her power's working. They talk about that 33-foot radius she has.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. But
why does she have to jump between people? But not only is she a telepath, she has telekinesis.
Well,
Um,
I will say that the 33 feet thing like doesn't make sense from a person who's read the comics, but it makes sense on how the heck is Spider-Man going to deal with a telepath in a movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
And they do progress her beyond that. By the end of the movie, she is more the Jean Grey power set that we're aware of. Kassan Warren says that Jean Grey have a sister in the comics. Yes. However, her older sister is not a mutant in the comics. There was some story that kind of hinted at that maybe, but no, that is a major change. She does have
Yeah.
a sister, but her sister is not a mutant in the comics.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, how it was handled, I mean, I think Sadie Sink did a great job. I understand a little, a relationship between Jean Grey and Peter Parker / Spider-Man is not like a comic book thing.
No, it's not.
But it was an endearing quality of this movie where Peter Parker and her, I'm not quite sure why he was resistant to her at first. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But eventually she kind of gets through, reads his mind a little bit, and somehow Aunt May gets to like sit down and comfort her. And it's at that point that like her and Peter have this like relationship now. It's just, I think it's endearing, but it is way out of left field as far as like that doesn't happen in the comics, which again, that's I thought it was handled well. By the end, I was good with what was happening, but during it, I was like, I don't understand. Her powers don't work like this. But they brought it there. They got there with Jean Grey for me. But again, I was all like, any other X-Men? Was Professor X coming? Like what? But didn't get that payoff.
Yeah, and that's the other like little thing that I'm kind of I don't know if I would say upset about, but like the one little thing they could have done at the end of the movie is they could have just had a road sign when she was sitting in the bus, welcome to Westchester, or they could have shown in the distance Professor Charles Xavier School for the Gifted and just left it at that. Like that would have pushed it over the edge. So real quick, Kassan said, "Turn on my light. The battery's dead." Sorry. I just thought of that when you said it, and I tried to turn it on, but the batteries are dead.
The major thing for me, though, Dave, and I don't know, I literally just saw the movie this afternoon. Excuse me. The thing's not sitting well with me is that this establishes some major changes. She is either not an original X-Men in this universe, or the original X-Men haven't happened yet.
Yeah, I think
that they wouldn't be back in the 19th, and I think you're right. I think they haven't happened yet. So that is like I said, and that was kind of my pre-complaint about Jean Grey being in this movie. Is again, now my mind is like, what's the X-Men implications here?
Well, she's a teenager, so yeah.
Because
Kassan said you hated that. I loved it. I hated that. Again, it's the back door, and it's making people hate mutants through one of the heroes of the X-Men. Like, you're gonna make people hate Jean Grey, why not introduce an X-Men villain, who's a mutant, an obvious mutant like Magneto or any of them, so people hate and fear mutants because of what a villain did. Now you made this story where her sister, who was also a mutant, again not comic accurate, was captured, experimented on, so now she's going after the people that captured her, trying to find her. And it's just like, I get it, and again, it's that morally ambiguous side of the characters, but it's just like I don't know. There's 100 different ways to do it. I think that would have been better. And hate is a strong word. Maybe I didn't hate it. I just like I didn't care for that aspect of the story, you know. And again, I'm also going to say this: I'm getting a Spider-Man movie. I want a Spider-Man villain to be the main villain of the movie, you know. Which, you know, yeah, they gave us that with Vulture. They gave us that with Mysterio, and then they gave us that with the crazy villain from other universes in the last movie. But it's just like you could have introduced Mr. Negative, you know, and made it where Mr. Negative was doing all of this stuff, and Jean got blamed for it without Jean having to cross that line. That's my issue. So, you know, so yeah, and like let's talk about that again real quick. You mentioned it at the top here, but like we did get a bunch of Spidey villains in this movie. We got Tombstone, we got Scorpion, we've got Tarantula,
Yeah.
and I can't think, there was like one other cover they redid, and it was like, oh, okay, but it's all just quick flash cameo shots so that we can show what he's been doing in the time since the last movie and establish he's fought all these guys and taken them down, and that's why he's like the hero of New York at this point in you know. And it's like, oh, okay, well that's cool, but like, you know, we got 2 fights with Scorpion and he's in this movie, but he's not the main villain. He's kind of a side character. Like I think a lot of people thought Scorpion was going to have a much bigger role in this movie than he actually did. You know, am I wrong on that one?
No, I definitely thought him, and particularly Tombstone. You know, it was a very big deal was made out of that casting, and I thought it was weird. I'm like, oh, really? What a villain to focus on. So it does make sense. But yeah, I did think they were going to have much bigger roles.
Yeah, so like I was a little let down with that. Trying to think.
Yeah, I was wondering how you felt about that, because as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is like
but they did.
Spider-Man versus Jean Grey versus Damage Control. Like, you know, how did Spider-Man feel
Well, that's,
with all this illustrious rogues gallery?
I mean, that's another thing too, right? Like, they're doing everything in their power to make Damage Control this villainous corporation in the background that's like government run thing in the background that's like doing this evil stuff in the names of, you know, they're Tony Stark with no moral compass basically at this point. Like, okay, so then like, so you can argue the real villain in the movie is Damage Control. But then like we got some other interesting, okay, I want to let's talk about this. To me, the most interesting character that they introduced, didn't know they were going to do this. I was surprised when I found out. Someone had said that, oh, I think she's in this movie. I'm like, huh, I didn't see anything about that. Jean DeWolf is in this movie, and just like in the comics, she is a captain on the police force who is a contact for Spider-Man. She famously in the 70s and 80s took on the role that, like, in a lot of ways Captain Stacy had in the comics until he was killed in the comics. Don't be a captain in a Spider-Man comic. Don't be a police captain in a Spider-Man comic. You're gonna probably end up dead. And but very fast, like, great. I don't know the actress's name who played her. She did an amazing job. But she's such an important character in Spider-Man lore for quite a few reasons. Do you know why she's an important character besides
I
the
don't.
fact? Okay, so in the comics, she's partners up with Peter, helps him with a lot of, or Spider-Man helps him with a lot of
Mhm.
things. She does talk to him
All
on the
right.
phone all the time. They do some of the. There are I kind
While
of
she's making dinner, like I was surprised about that.
there are things they kind of copied the Batman thing in a couple times with her in the comics where like they're met on a rooftop and they're talking and like he runs off, before they're without finishing
Yeah.
the conversation. So I was kind of hoping they would do a shot like that, but they didn't. It's like, okay, it's fine. But famously, Jean DeWolf is murdered in the comics. The death of Jean DeWolf. We actually did an episode covering that book on the show. It's one of the most important Spider-Man stories in history. So famously, she gets murdered. She is killed by the Sin Eater, the villain in the comics, and something that comes out of that story is there's a reporter who reports on who killed Jean DeWolf and the identity of the Sin Eater. However, the report is wrong. The person jumped the gun putting this out. They worked for the Daily Bugle, and they got fired because it was exposed that the information was wrong, and the person knew it was wrong when they published the article. Do you know who that reporter was?
That was Mr. Eddie Brock,
Exactly. And you know who exposed him?
Peter Parker.
Exactly. So that created the hatred that Peter had, or that Eddie had for Peter, and that's who the symbiote finds eventually, and thus that is how we get Venom. Do you think they're going to go down that road now that they introduced Jean DeWolf? Of all the characters they could have brought into the MCU, it's a long road, and they just introduced her. So, like, how you make that work in like 2 more movies, I don't know. Like the next movie would have to be the death of Jean DeWolf, basically.
I don't believe that will happen. The only way I would believe that would happen is if they do come back and say, "Oh yeah, no, the black eyes and his powers getting him getting more aggressive and his powers going crazy. That was a symbiote that he somehow secretly had and didn't know about it." Other than that, then no, because if we're at this, just if they go that storyline, if that is really the start of this, like it seems like it'll be 7 movies before we get Venom at that point. Unless they come back and explain, "Oh no, that's the symbiote," because otherwise they never resolve that storyline, Dave. By the way, that whole his powers getting fucked up. Like, they're like, "Oh, you're distressed because you're all alone," and like
I saw something online today, but I haven't gone in to confirm it yet. There's a rumor that Tom Holland has signed another contract for 5 more movies.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I heard that, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe they are setting up Sin Eater and all that. But yeah, it would be a long, convoluted road to try to.
I think they can do it without Sin Eater. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, okay, hold on. Kassan has posted a couple questions here. Let's the movie didn't make her a villain, it made her an antagonist. She is actually a hero. Her methods are similar to Frank Castle by any means necessary, but the audience sympathized with her. Well, the audience watching the movie sympathized with her. The people of New York who were controlled and frozen don't sympathize with her.
Yeah, that's true. But otherwise, I agree with what he says. I mean, yeah, by the end of it, it's like, oh, it's justified. Punisher, way more expanded role than I thought he would have.
So I was going to say, since Kassan brought him up, we had John Bernthal as Punisher in this movie. I thought it was going to be a quick cameo. No, he's is actually a part of the story. There's a through line through the movie where apparently Spidey saved the Punisher on Staten Island. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no flashbacks or anything to show it. It's just they talk about it. So thus that establishes they have a relationship. The big tank scene in the beginning of the movie where they're chasing the tank down the street. And Frank shows up to stop the tank, and of course his method is guns. That's the scene that's in the trailer, and he says mother, and he shoots him in the mouth and says go home. I did think that might have been the end of the Punisher in the movie. Like that was his cameo. Like, okay. But no, like later on when he's trying to protect MJ, we'll get into Ned and MJ in a minute. He takes her to Punisher's hideout. He's now hiding in a boat graveyard, basically, and he's living on one of the boats, or a submarine. Is it a submarine or a boat? I'm not sure. It probably was a boat.
I couldn't tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be either or. There's a lot going on there, but yeah, his little lair.
Yeah. So, like he leaves MJ there, to protect her, and we'll get into the MJ stuff. But there's like conversation that happened, blah blah blah. When Pete comes up with a plan to like stop Jean, he leaves, and MJ is like, well, aren't you gonna go help him? Like, he obviously saved your life in Staten Island. And he reluctantly goes, and he's part of the final, or not the final, but the big battle that happens at the with Jean at the damage control, where the other character that I want to talk about is involved. Why was the Punisher chasing after the tank? Because it was a tank barreling down the city street in New York. Like, he has a police scanner too, I'm sure, and he got the scan that just like Peter did, that there was a tank barreling, and he's just trying to stop it because he's the Punisher. He might punish bad guys, but he still considers himself a good guy, which I kind of feel like maybe that's what they were setting up in One Last Kill, like the idea of like he's never going to stop being the Punisher. One of my favorite movies and moments in the movie is in that scene, and Jean jumps into Frank's Castle's mind. She's standing there, he's standing there, and both at the same time they go, wow, this guy's effed up.
Yeah, no, I think Punisher fans got a real dose of good shit, man. Which I'm happy for. I'm happy for the expanded role. Go ahead.
I didn't know this, or maybe I knew it and I forgot. John Bernthal and Tom Holland are friends in real life. Like, they both auditioned for Marvel together. They both encouraged the other to audition for Marvel.
Yeah.
Tom Holland was a huge comic book fan, and when the opportunity to play the Punisher came up, he encouraged John Bernthal to apply for the role. So like, and I recently saw an interview where like they were talking about it. John Bernthal had nothing but good things to say about Tom Holland, and he was kind of like, he was really glad to be able to do the Odyssey and Brand New Day with him, because he could see how his friend grew as an actor since they started together. So that's that's the real reason the Punisher's chasing the tank down the middle of the street in New York, because he wanted his buddy in the movie. So yeah,
that's the worst reason in the world to have someone in a movie. So
yeah, and the Punisher also has the most not pivotal scene, but then of course, because they go. Jean is trying to find her sister, so she's at the damage control button building. She has Bruce Banner, Hulk, mind controlled. It's Professor Hulk at this point. We're going to talk about all this in a second. He's trying to pound into the vault where they're hidden. Stuff happens, blah blah. You know, I don't want to talk about the Hulk too much yet. So basically, that ends up with Jean getting captured, and that's when they realize, like, oh, after that is when they realize, like, oh, they effed up. Like, she actually had a reason for what she was doing. She wasn't just a villain trying to take down damage control. She's trying to find her sister. So Pete goes to rescue her. Craziness ensues, but like the Punisher then also was going there. You know, they don't really explain why he's going there. Like, he never says he realized like they effed up. You know, he more or less like comes off like he's trying to stop Peter at that point. But the thing that happened, go ahead.
I mean, he's trying to kill Jean Grey at this point.
Yeah, at that point. So
I mean, really up on basically till the end, though. I mean,
yeah,
he sniped her, tried to.
They're doing the experiments on her, which causes her powers to increase. She ends up controlling.
Oh, she's got the full telekinetic powers. This, I was like, okay, I see. They here we go.
Now we get
give a damn about 33 feet. Fuck that. She could, yeah.
But what I was getting at with the Punishers, we get the recreation of that shot of him standing on top of a building, aiming that rifle. He's planning to shoot Jean.
I do have to give the Punisher a couple awards here. Okay. Couple. 2 awards specifically. Dumbest move award goes to the Punisher for rolling up on the Hulk, repeatedly shooting him in the face. Like, one swipe of the Hulk's fist and he could die. But with that said, most courageous award has to go to Frank Castle for just fucking running and gunning around the Hulk, knowing that his bullets ain't doing nothing, but at least making him look the other way, you know. But not, I don't know. It's dangerous.
I would love the conversation. Like, they're hiding from the Hulk, and Frank goes to Peter like, "Oh, you go, you distract the Hulk, and I'll go stop Jean." And it's like, you don't want to fight the Hulk, do you? And he's basically like, "Well, yeah, like,
right."
So yeah, that's a great. That's a great moment where it's like, okay, he realizes he's not invincible. Yes, before we get to the other 2 main characters, we got Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, Hulk in this movie. Not entirely what I was expecting. He's teaching at Empire State University, which I thought was like, I don't know. I kind of like, I get it. They put him in a position where it's easy for Pete to talk to him. You know, like he didn't have to go to Avengers Tower or go find him at some kind of facility. But the guy basically invented time travel in the last movie that we saw him in. And now he's teaching, him and Tony Stark together invented time and saved the world. And now he's teaching a physics class at Empire State University. That makes no sense. It like,
listen, Dave. As good as this movie is, it's got wonky writing. Like, for example, and before we go too far or deviate, how about Yelena being in this movie? Like, and so she just hangs out in the bathhouse, and anytime you have to meet with her about Avengers stuff, you got to go to the bathhouse. Like, she brought nothing to the movie. I don't even know why she was in it. Anyway,
Yeah, I wasn't even going to bring her up because she,
Okay.
you're right. She adds nothing to this movie. There is no need for her to be in it other than a couple of jokes like small potatoes. Oh, you deal with small potatoes.
right.
The Avengers, we deal with big potatoes. It's a callback, I guess, to the comics where, this. I mean, I can't tell you how many comics I read where the Spider-Man's dealing with like a big threat. So he tries to contact the X-Men. We don't have the X-Men yet. Tries to contact the Avengers. Oh, the Avengers are off world doing something
Yeah.
else. He tries to contact Fantastic Four. Oh, they're busy with the Mole Men or something. So I feel like it's a callback a little bit to that, where like he's like, I feel like I'm in over my head. Let me contact the Avengers for help, and of course he knows them because he was part of the fighting Thanos. So I'm sure they all talked and traded cell phone numbers at the end of that, after they beat Thanos. So like, yeah. But other than that, she doesn't add anything. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I kind of felt like she did something that Peter could have just done himself at the end of the movie when she looks up Jean Grey and Sarah, and it's like, oh, she had a sister and blah, blah, blah. It was like, okay, but like Peter could have just looked that information up himself, right? Like she wasn't needed for that scene. It was just, they added her. But going back to Bruce Banner, Hulk, like he's wearing an inhibitor. They don't really explain why he's wearing the inhibitor, because when we last saw him, he was the melding of Bruce Banner and Hulk, so he was Professor Hulk. So like, hey, why would he need the inhibitor? He just like keeps saying like, oh, if I didn't have this, and it's like, really?
Well, I honestly just think he needs it not to be Bruce Banner Hulk in a classroom.
Well,
yeah.
I did see that online, an argument of like, well, so he could do normal sized people stuff. Okay, but again, he doesn't need to be teaching a class at Empire State either. So I thought that was strange. But yeah, so she makes him take the inhibitor off, and it's not like he became Savage Hulk. He became Professor Hulk, and he's walking around as Professor Hulk. And then like when they're fighting, when Peter and the Punisher are fighting the Hulk, every time he gets hurt, we all know from the comics and in the movies they've established this, when the Hulk gets hurt and the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, the bigger he gets. And so they do a whole thing where it's like they're hurting him, they're making him angry, and the other guy, as he calls him, the Hulk himself, is getting angrier, and he turns into Savage Hulk, not where I thought that scene was going.
Yeah, no, it was, you're right. I didn't think it would go there. But we did see that by the end of the conflict with Savage Hulk and Spider-Man, that he, at the end, when he's got, like all those blocks and stuff on, dragging him down, like he does let go, and even the Savage Hulk kind of establishes, okay, I really shouldn't be this person's enemy,
Well, yeah, but because there was an interview with Tom Holland where he's like, oh, well, at least there's one thing in the movie that remembers who I am. And I thought they were alluding to Hulk remembers who Peter is, because I mean, we knew we were getting Savage Hulk because it was in the trailers. Yeah. And in the comics, in the Brand New Day storyline, the only person that remembers Hulk, that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, is Hulk. It's not even Bruce Banner, it's Hulk remembers. So there's something about him that allows him to remember. So I was waiting for, in that scene where he's got him webbed up and he's got all the debris pulling him down and he's holding on, and he goes, I'm your friend. And I was waiting for him to just just all Hulk had to do was say, Peter's my friend, not Spider-Man, Peter. And then he lets go and falls. Because like that would have been, I think,
Yeah.
it would have been a better scene. It would have been like, oh, that's why he's letting go, because he remembers who he is. And it would have made people go, and it would have been a cool little thing, because
Yeah.
the overall arcing story in this movie is that he's struggling because he's alone. No one knows who he is. No one cares who he is. He's struggling. He's still holding on to a life that he got rid of and never reconciled. Got rid of, but had to
Yeah.
save the universe, as it were. So, like, that would have been a moment where it would have been like, oh, okay, so Hulk remembers him, so he's got that. That would have given him a little bit of a victory, but yeah, he lets go, he falls. Presumably after he falls, he turns back into Bruce, and so now Savage Hulk is back in the MCU, which I guarantee was also done because it's going to probably play into Doomsday or Secret Wars, that they want him as Savage Hulk, not Professor Hulk, for that. So
We shall see.
Let's see. But when Hulk
Like,
was
says,
go-
but
okay,
when Hulk let go, he seemed to do so because he recognized Spider-Man. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. So we covered the Hulk, we covered Gene DeWolf, we covered.
so do you
Punisher.
like the dynamic between Spider-Man and the Punisher now? Right?
Oh yeah,
Do you like that? Okay.
I liked it. I think it worked. What I didn't, I guess I liked it, but I thought it was wonky writing again. But again, it's funny. I still say this is the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. MJ and Ned. Right?
Okay, let's talk about this. Yes.
They went away to MIT in Boston for
Mhm.
college, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when we last saw them at the end of No Way Home, MJ was working in the coffee shop, but like she went to they both got accepted to MIT, and they went and moved up there. And Ned apparently had a social media thing where he was posting videos. So like, I like that we live in a world where they can do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
he can keep a tab on his friends without like having to be a creepy guy spying on them through the window. And it works for this movie too. It does work.
Yeah, no, that's what makes me and you such good friends to anybody, because if they just so happen to come across Doctor Strange that erases their memories, our memories of them, they
Yeah.
can creep on us here on Superhero Speak.
Exactly. That's a perfect explanation. But of course they graduated, because it's 4 years later. They
Yeah.
graduated MIT and they moved back to New York. And of course they got an apartment together.
Yeah, that's a bit creepy.
Yeah, it is a bit creepy.
It's like Ned is friend zoned, but he just doesn't get it. I don't know. I thought that was weird, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's a comic book movie.
This is the aspect of the movie that makes Brand New Day in the comics and Brand New Day in the movies not fully work in the wonkiness, because they're having a housewarming party. Peter sees Ned, and this is where he gets creepy. Follows them back to their apartment, their new apartment, where they're having the housewarming party. And you find out that Ned has created a spider tracker app that everyone uses, and that he's got a wall with all Spider-Man stuff on it, like, because he's trying to figure out whose secret identity is. Again, like, we did say this leading up to the movie, that like Ned has got a weird obsession with Spider-Man, because obviously somewhere in the back of his mind he knows he knew him, but he doesn't know that he knew him. And along those lines, he goes, oh yeah, it's mentioned in the movie, oh, there's times that Spider-Man saved us. Like, so what they're saying is they've got all those memories.
They just don't remember that it's Peter Parker.
They just don't remember Peter at all. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it only works if they erase them knowing Peter is Spider-Man, but erasing that they even know Peter is and I get it. It was all done to set this movie up. But it's wonky. Like, when you really think about it, it's like, so you remember this, the first movie, the Washington Monument, you remembered him help saving everyone in Paris, you remembered the fight at the Statue of Liberty. Like, okay. And which makes it even weirder because there were 3 Spider-Men and you don't remember any of them being Peter Parker. Yeah, it makes it wonky, but
so let me ask though, because you talk about setups.
Yeah.
And I know you're a Spider-Man, plus MJ fan, right? PP plus MJ. Are you happy though that they went with the angle that she, saying, well, I don't love you? Like, does this now bring in, we can bring in Mary Jane and the actual relationship that, with Mary Jane?
No, I'm going to tell you what.
And not MJ. Okay.
It pissed me off for 2 reasons. Number one, so he wrote the letter at the end of No Way Home, and he was going to go tell them and show them, but he's held on to it for 4 years, right? And MJ, like, the Jean breaks into follows him, I guess, using the Spider Tracker app. They don't talk. That would have been a cool aspect if they showed her using the Spider Tracker app to find out where he lives and then went to his apartment. That would have been funny. But regardless, Jean's in his apartment. She finds that letter, so that's how she knows who Ned and MJ are, right? So then Peter realizes that she's in trouble, and that Jean is going to go after her. At the same time, Peter's smart enough; he sees them jumping person to person, so he uses his AI to realize that it's a 33-foot jump. She can't jump any farther than that. So he traps Jean in a helicopter, and he goes to MJ and it's like, oh, I got to come with me, Oh, okay. So she goes with him, right? And they're swinging and they get to a rooftop, and she goes through this whole speech of like, why are you doing this? Like, oh, wait, you must know us, blah, blah. And she kisses him. And it's like, oh, Peter. She acts like she remembers him. I'm going to say this. I didn't see it coming. My girlfriend leaned over and went, oh, Jean's already controlling her.
Ah, right. You know what? I didn't see it immediately either. But
so, and then as soon as she said that, like, that's when the reveal comes. It's like, oh, it's actually Jean. I was confused on at what point did she jump into MJ's body? Like, was it before he got to the apartment? Was it while they were swinging in the air? Did she jump into her body while they were standing there talking? Like,
yeah,
it's a little ambiguous. When exactly she got into her body.
When was Rhodey a Skrull? When wasn't he?
Yeah,
fun little things.
So, like, but of course they make the comment of, oh, you thought, True Love's kiss was going to break the spell. She would have hated that, blah, blah, and then makes a comment of like, oh, there's no thoughts of you at all in here. And it's just like, really? Like, no thoughts at all? No thoughts of Peter, but thoughts of Spider-Man, I would think, because her best friend that she lives with is obsessed with Spider-Man. So she doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was like, okay, whatever. And then of course, he takes her to Frank. She doesn't remember, claims she doesn't remember anything that happened. But while she's out, she finds that letter. He leaves it behind by accident, quote unquote accident. She finds it, and at first she's like mad at him, but then turns around and says, "Well, I understand why you did it," you know. But then refers to her old self in the third person of like,
Yeah.
you know, that person, basically saying that person loved you, but I don't, you know. And he drops her off at her apartment. She said, "Oh, why don't you come up and say hi to Ned?" You know, which he was visiting friends in Boston, but okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like, so like the funny thing is that they go up, he's in his full costume, so he doesn't know that who it is under the mask, and they're building, like, they're back to the Homecoming. They're in the room, they're building Legos together, and they're like
Star Wars Lego,
Star Wars
nonetheless.
Lego, and they're having banter back and forth of Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, you know, like they're old friends again right
Yeah.
away. And it's like, okay, well, why couldn't MJ and Peter fall into that familiar pattern, but Ned and Peter could, like that, like, you know what I'm saying? This is the
Unless
one.
she never actually loved him. Hmm? No, it's a bit deep, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's a bit inconsistent there.
That is a good point. I will put that up here to think about. Right, because then when we get to the end of the movie, this is how the movie ends: is he's back in that little bodega, Peter, where he buys the flowers every day that he takes to May's grave, and Ned is sitting there, and like he sees him and he's about to walk out, and then he turns around and says, "Oh, hi, I'm Peter." He's like, "Oh, you're the guy from the party." And he goes, like, they shake hands, but then he goes into their routine, their handshake routine, and like he does it automatically without thinking, because, you know, muscle memory. And then he looks up and he goes, "Peter," and then we end the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so Love's True Kiss can't break the spell, but a handshake can.
But
Love's
the
True handshake.
bros dabbing it up, they could do it.
Yeah, like,
Well, I mean, yeah, bros before hoes, man. I mean, it's a saying for a reason. Yeah. I got to say that whole part of the movie I really didn't care for. But to me, it was really at first them selling Peter's pain. Kassan says, "Man, the pain that Peter showed when MJ hugged him was deep. I love the vulnerability and then the betrayal when he finds out it's Jean." Yeah, I mean, I totally get that, because I mean, we kind of brushed over it a little bit, but there's a time skip here. You know, he's not
Yeah.
just like dealing with this loneliness and watching them for like 6 months to a year. It was 4 years of isolation. Thus, you
Yeah.
know, where he's starting to develop these problems or whatever, these enhancements, his or whatever, his spider hormones or whatever the hell spider midichlorians increase until he gets the inhibitor chip.
Midichlorians. Okay.
So how did you feel about that? We did not get Man Spider. We got
That
Black
was-
Eyes.
That was like, okay. Oh, that bugs me.
Ha,
In
get
the
it,
sense
bugs?
of like, okay, so I did read something, and this was the thing that I was spoiled on before I went to the theater, because I was curious, do we get Man Spider in the movie? And basically, I read something where somebody at Disney or Marvel came out and basically said that was part like they originally were thinking that, but they decided not to go down that road because they wanted to keep the movie family friendly, and they thought a giant mutant spider in the movie wouldn't work. But we don't get any of it. Like we don't even get the additional arms. It's they show that he's mutating. Again, this has happened in the comics a couple times, you know, and there's even a storyline in the 80s where it was like Peter No More. Hold on a second. Sorry. He was just Spider-Man, and he was going around fighting crime, getting exhausted just as Spider-Man, which
Yeah.
there's a play on that in this movie. But so we get the Man Spider in the comics. He does drink a potion in the comics, which causes him to mutate further, give him the additional arms, and then eventually he mutates into a spider.
Yeah.
There's the other aspect of it is Spider-Man the Other. So that was a storyline in the early 2000s in the comics, where he basically dies. He goes into a cocoon, and when he comes out of the cocoon is when he's got natural web shooters and stingers, you know, and his powers are enhanced. He's better. He's got stronger spider sense, and he's stronger, right? That's where I thought they were going with this, you know, and I kind of thought at the end of the movie when Frank shoots him, when he's trying to shoot Jean, and Peter saves her and takes the bullet himself, where if he was firing a rifle that powerful, it probably would have went through Peter and shot Jean anyway. But I digress. The thing is, it's like I thought, like, is he going to all of a sudden wrap himself up in a cocoon, and then he was going to come out like a post-credit scene? We're going to see him, like, his arm rip out of the cocoon and a stinger come out of it, like,
Oh.
you know. I thought, oh, that would have been a really cool way to do it. No, it's just he's fighting the mutation. Like, that's the overall arching storyline in this movie, is that he's mutating. He's getting stronger. His powers are mutating, and he's fighting it. That's the whole reason he talks to Banner, because Banner's got the inhibitor for some reason. At this point, again, plot contrivance. And he's like, well, I want to talk to you about your inhibitor. Like, could you do this? And like, how does it work? And like, again, showing the genius of Peter Parker, which is one of the aspects of this movie that I love, is that everything in the previous movies, he was helped by a bunch of people, and it didn't show, like, he got all of his tech and everything from Tony Stark, and it didn't show Peter's the genius, you know, like, he is a genius level intelligence in the comics, but they haven't shown that in the movies as much. So now they are they're showcasing that in this movie a lot, you know. But where was I going with this? Oh, so he's trying to stop the mutation. He creates an inhibitor for himself, which puts him at his baseline mutation. Well, like, once he figures out how it gets work, that's another thing. MJ helps him figure out why it's overheating, blah 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 blah, whatever. But it's like, you know, basically by the end of the movie, he decides to go take it off, and like then he handily fights the Hand, pun not intended, you know, because he's stronger, his spider sense is stronger, and he's got natural web shooters. And it's like, okay, but like, what was the, like, are we going to go somewhere with him mutating further, or is it like just that's it, you know? And I feel like that's again part of the mutation stuff, is the back door into bringing in the X-Men.
You mentioned the X-Men and these inhibitors. I feel this is the groundwork for mutant power inhibitors. So when they show up, we can be like, oh, Dr. Banner and Peter Parker already talked about this universal inhibitor, and being selective with it. And so we could see the birth of that in the X-Men movies, which again is strange, but cool. The hand. Yeah, I think it's really dumb. The whole like, oh, they're part of damage control now. They wanna do good. I thought they could have wrote a way better reason for Peter or Spider-Man to be fighting the hand than they just work for damage control now. That's talk about plot contrivance.
Yes.
Dave is distracted by our comments.
Yeah,
I
well,
think.
one of them I'm not going to bring up.
No? Oh, okay.
Mark says Ned doesn't remember Peter Parker. He just realized he found Spider-Man. I think he was talking about. I think he was talking about the relation, them in the apartment. Because at the end, again, he looks right at him and goes, "Peter." So it makes it feel like.
Okay, I got you. I missed that.
But he was in a cocoon. He did come out with natural web slingers. Yeah, but they were showing that he was mutating before he put himself in the cocoon. So
that was funny when he was when it first started coming out.
Peter too had natural web shooters, and he's cool. So I'm cool.
Yeah.
And like I will say that one of the aspects I liked about the movie. It's weird, but like them showing like all of a sudden he's got these powers and he's having a hard time controlling them and figuring them out. Like that makes sense. You're not going to just all of a sudden have a new ability and master it, and there's no one else on the planet you can talk to about natural web shooters. You can talk to Daredevil about enhanced senses, but that's another story. Which he should have been in the movie, but I digress. So yeah, like I'm trying to think.
So we've talked a lot about plot contrivances, wonky writing, but you obviously like this a lot. So yeah. I'm just can you encapsulate for me though? Because I feel like we've talked a lot of junk about it, kind of. So what really brings this home for you though is like, okay, Spider-Man's your number one. So
we've got, here are the things that make this movie, I think, the best. We finally get Peter Parker, Spider-Man working on his own to be a hero. He's not reliant on Tony Stark. He's not reliant on Doctor Strange. Like, he's doing it. He's being a hero. He's stopping Tombstone and Scorpion and Tarantula, and he's doing it all on his own, and he's saving New York, and New York's loving him, and he's the street level hero from the comic books. He's got an inside on the police force because the police force like and trust him, like they're not hunting him down. He's working with Jean DeWolf, who's an important character in the Spider-Man history, like, and that she's there and part of this movie is great. Like that makes it really, this is Spider-Man. Like these are the aspects of like, oh, I'm watching a Spider-Man movie. And again, his intellect, showing that he's intelligent, he's able to figure all these things out. Like it's funny because like I get it. It was annoying when all of a sudden he had AI because of Tony Stark and all this stuff. But it's 2026 and you can get a 3D printer.
You say you can have Google AI glasses. Yeah.
There's so many AI assistants out there, and he's smart enough to change it, to make it work for him. Like, yeah, it makes sense in 2026 that he would have this stuff, but like showing him figuring the things out and showing that he's intelligent and not just reliant on other people to help him fight crime, like that makes this a strong Spider-Man movie,
Okay.
Um,
I'll tell you what I like about it is as much wonk as we have cited in the writing. I think that small important moments are done very well and written very well uh in this
yes,
movie. Kassan has been mentioning in the chat, about the hurt of Peter, him going through that isolation. I thought it was wonderfully acted and written. Just them really selling how, like, because you can relate. Like, how messed up would you be if you had to endure this? We're not even talking about superpowers or nothing. The
yeah,
person who had a close group of friends, and now they're separated, and he's doing it to protect them.
right.
And then just a lot of great human moments in between Spider-Man and the Punisher and Spider-Man and Sadie Sink. And so I thought a lot of small human moments were written very well and acted very well in this movie.
Agreed.
And it sold you on that everyman Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I loved him being able to, as the Punisher is dressed up as Spider-Man in the hospital, Peter Parker gets to walk amongst all the people with their
Yeah.
signs and adulation that they have for Frank Castle in a Spider-Man suit. That was just, all that stuff was very well done. And again, it sold you hope, which is just not something we've been getting from
Exactly.
superhero content lately.
This is how you do a superhero movie in those aspects. Yeah. Again, it gave you hope at the end. Like he felt like he lost everything, but the fact that he gained a city that loves him, it gives you hope. Quick, silly question: the little kid at the end who looks at him and goes, "Flip, flip."
Yeah,
Miles.
could be.
Like, even if it's not, if they introduce Miles, someone's going to say, "Oh, look, he was."
It is my understanding they're going to do it. So
yeah. There's one thing that we haven't touched on. MJ and Ned were in MIT at school. Peter was living in a top floor apartment in New York, being Spider-Man. How was he making money?
Well, first of all, he was living in, a storage closet, basically.
Still,
a pretty big one.
Even those are expensive in New York.
Yeah. I maybe some Aunt May life insurance money. I'm sure he was the beneficiary. Yeah. Maybe he's got some stuff tucked away from his adventures that he can kind of just slide on the dark web. Little tech here or there.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking about
Bitcoin. He's very smart. You mentioned Bitcoin. He could.
There is something. And this is kind of mentioned. Obviously, in the comics, freelance photographer sold pictures of Spider-Man to the Daily Bugle. Like,
yeah,
for years, that's how he made money. Which that was another thing. So I saw somewhere that J.K. Simmons was in this movie as J. Jonah Jameson, but obviously he wasn't. I think I saw that on IMDb, but those websites are not always accurate.
Yeah.
But someone said this, and I was like, oh, in 2026, he can take videos of Spider-Man and put them up on YouTube and probably get millions of views and make money that way. So I would have loved if they had shown that, if they had shown him like using his phone to take shots of Spider-Man and then post them on social media. That would have been cool, because then it would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. He doesn't have to work because he can get all the best shots of Spider-Man, and people love Spider-Man, so he could make lots of money. So, yeah, damn it, yeah. That's the only explanation that makes sense to me. What do you people think? How is Peter in 2026 making money to live in New York and be Spider-Man? Let us know in those comments down below. All right. Well, you know what? We're at 2 hours, so I can't think of anything else about the movie that I want to touch on. So I think it's a good place to wrap up the conversation. So, as we do, you gave a score. Do you still have that
Yeah,
same score? And do you have any
yeah.
final thoughts?
No, I mean it's you know, I'm a little under the curve, I guess, as far as where I rate this movie, as I'm still staying at 8 capes out of 10. I'm absolutely astonished that it's made almost $1 billion already in its first weekend. But that goes to show you the power of Spider-Man. People like Tom Holland. Um, and there you go. I mean, wonky writing abound. It doesn't matter. It's fun. It's hopeful. There's a guy dressed up as Spider-Man swinging around. And yeah, that's all you really need. You don't need airtight writing. Just give us a fun human adventure that makes us feel things and ends with you feeling hopeful. And yeah, there you go. People just gave it $1 billion in 4 days.
Yeah, yeah. Um. All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, again, to me, a lot of the wonkiness really was around um the how the memory erasement worked and how it makes sense. But like that's going to be wonky because it's like you can't just look at the camera and go, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
magic." Um, and two, like the Hulk was only in the movie um as a plot point, you know, and same thing with Black Widow. I think that they're the only two. Like, I think you could probably take at least you could take Black Widow completely out of this movie, and it doesn't. You know what I'm saying, it doesn't change the movie at all. It was just an excuse to get Peter in his underwear so he could make some money on his OnlyFans page.
Some spider abs. So, Dave, before we officially put a pin in it here for this discussion, after credit scene.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I was gonna run our ending and then come back and talk about it. No kidding.
We should have done.
Crazy after credit scene. It shows the Spidey app, the tracker. It shows, you know, somewhere in Brooklyn the Spidey symbol, and then it says new sighting, blah blah, and it zooms out of the Earth and then goes somewhere into space and shows Spidey somewhere in space. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's quite obvious. It's showing somewhere in Doomsday or Battle World, wherever.
That is my theory.
That there was a Spider-Man
Battleworld.
sighting, and it's probably not our Spider-Man. It's not Tom Holland. I will say
The Ultimate Universe Spider-Man, aka Miles Morales, which means that kid isn't Miles Morales, which, you know, that's going to be a whole thing.
I also was a little perturbed that there were no Fantastic Four in this movie.
Nothing.
They made us think that this was because the timing was for this movie, not Doomsday, but apparently it's going to be Doomsday. So,
but they did for the most part, and I think this is to its credit. This movie is not Doomsday issue 0. It is its own thing. Smallish, small potatoes. Spider-Man story.
It is more along the lines of Phase 1 MCU, where it was like you got a self-contained story that worked. There might a little bit of stuff that ties it to other movies, but it's not like you said, issue 0 to set up the next big thing. Ooh. And you get an after credit scene that does kind of tease that movie. And that's it. Like, and that's how they used to do it. Like, write a good standalone movie, have it play, and at the end tease the next thing. So
there you go. Kassan says my son said it glitched like into the Spider-Verse animation. I haven't seen that, so I didn't catch that. But if that's true, then okay, interesting.
I didn't notice that either. So okay. So I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but it's the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. So if you've gotten this far in the podcast and you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't know what you're doing. Go run out and see it, and let's make sure it beats the Odyssey. But on that note, it's time for that question, Don, that we ask every time we get together.
What do we learn on the show tonight?
Tell me, Don, what did you learn, or do you have any recommendations, or both?
No, what I learned is that you really do have a vendetta against the Odyssey movie. It's a little bit strange, but okay. I'm all right. I mean, hey,
It's that, like everyone loves it, so I don't want to love it. It's that punk rock.
okay.
attitude that
I get you. I get okay. Very well. Very well. But let's I am interested though, because again, another thing I learned is that apparently he doesn't have a China release yet. So I guess here in 12 days it will, and we'll see then if it catches up to Spider. But I don't think it will. Spider-Man is just crazy fucking popular. And what's sad, I'm not trying to extend this episode even more, but what's sad is that Superman should also be getting this treatment, and yet he doesn't. But anyway.
Yeah. No, agreed. It's yeah. I mean, and this also just proves that DC's Superman's better. Marvel's better than DC. And no one likes Supergirl. That's what I learned. That is what I learned tonight. That no one likes Supergirl, and
they all like spider abs.
If you put John Bernthal and Tobey Maguire in a movie together, not Tobey Maguire, sorry, Tom Holland and Zendaya in a movie together, it's gonna make bucks. But if it's a Spider-Man movie, it's going to make more bucks.
There you go. There you go.
Recommendations. I don't really have a recommendation. Montego. I like Supergirl. Of course you did. You like everything. Montego, we love you, but you like everything.
Check out the Batman Cape Crusader.
I was about to say, my
recommendation
is go watch Cape Crusaders, because we've definitely been talking about that the next time we get together. And I watched the first episode. They're definitely going to slow burn Joker, but we'll figure that all out when we get together again. So on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. See you next time.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting for? Visit our merch store. But before you click away,